Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back for another video. So a lot has gone on since I was last posting videos regularly, and as you can see, I'm back at my parents' house. So previous to this, I was living in Bath with my friends in a rented house. Our contract ended and we decided not to renew it because everyone had such different plans for the future and where they needed to be. So I'm back at my parents' house until I find somewhere that meets all of my criteria and is in budget and all of that kind of stuff. Easier said than done. So I'm really lucky that my parents don't live that far away from my friends, so I can live here and still see them. But this does mean that I am back in my teenage bedroom. This has been my bedroom since I was around 11, and it's been this colour green since I was about 16. I chose the green in my neutrals are the only colours available phase, so the fact that it's green and not grey is really quite surprising. But if you've watched any of my other videos or seen my Instagram, you'll know that I am very strongly in a colourful phase right now. I have been for the last several years, and the way this room was, muted green walls and literally everything else was white and grey, just doesn't speak to me anymore. And because I've only been back here for short periods of time over the last couple of years, it hasn't really mattered. But now I'm back for more permanently, probably at least a couple of months, if not longer, depending on how the rental market goes, because it is pretty much a nightmare at the moment. I might be here for a while, and obviously I need a space that I like. But because I'm not going to be here long term, I didn't want to do big scale changes, so I haven't repainted. Even though this green is not a colour I would probably choose now, covering it up, repainting it is probably a lot more labour than it's worth if I'm only going to stay here for, I would guess, less than 6 months. Especially because it's a big room, and because of my disabilities, I wouldn't be able to paint it. I would have to have someone else paint it. I'd have to ask my parents to paint it for me. So of course that's a big outlay of energy, and if I'm not going to be here that long, I don't really want to ask them to do that. So I've tried to make the room feel more me, bring more pink in, and really make it work better for me while I'm staying here. The first problem I have is the green is really hard to film in front of. I don't know if it's just my skin tone, but I always look odd when I film in here, and there's always loads of colour grading and I can never get it to look right. And so I wanted a way to cover it up without painting the whole room. And so I thought if I put my artwork up that I've had in Bath, that will, cover some of it up and bring in more colours that I do kind of vibe with more. And after seeing lots of scallop designs on Pinterest around doorways and things, I decided a painted scallop in pink would bring in more of that pink that I feel is desperately lacking in this room. Luckily for me, pink and green go together, so it's a little bit of an odd combination, I think, but I think it works. Maybe don't tell me if you think it doesn't. And that's great because so much of my stuff is pink that actually it still works in this room, and that's great because otherwise it would be horrible if all of my stuff clashed with my room. When I came back here after moving out of the house in Bath, everything was kind of dumped into this room, and it was almost 2 bedrooms worth of stuff. The stuff that was already here and the stuff I had in Bath, there was just so much stuff. It was everywhere and it was kind of unlivable. So I had to do a lot of sorting of this stuff it needs to go into storage and I'll need it when I move out, but I don't need it now, and stuff that I do need now. All the stuff I do need now obviously needed to find storage. It needed a place to live. Since being home, I've felt a big kick to get back into crafting. I like sewing, I like generally crafting, I have a hot glue gun, I will hot glue anything at any opportunity. And in Bath, I had a big desk where I could do crafts, but here it's a very narrow, long dressing table. The narrowness makes it kind of impossible to do crafts and sewing. I can have the sewing machine there, but there's no room for anything else. So I decided I really needed a table. And I really wanted a folding table because I don't always want to have it out. I looked on Facebook Marketplace and eBay for secondhand ones, and they did exist, but they were all too far away or not the right size or too expensive, and in the end I got one from IKEA. Help from my parents to build the thing just because of the physical nature of it. I wouldn't say it was complicated, but it was definitely physically demanding. They both seemed to find it quite tricky in terms of effort you needed to put in, but now that it's built, I love it. It's so sturdy. It's an amazing table, and I saw a lot of people online say to get the birch one because it's solid and not the white one because it's chipboard, and I did what they said, and goodness gracious, is it heavy. It's definitely solid. Craft table, I also got one of those pegboards. You always see the crafty people on YouTube with those pegboards, and I've wanted one for a long time, but I've been in rented accommodation and you can't drill into the walls. But this is my parents' house, so I can drill into the walls. Pegboards, and I got to pick out all the little hooks and trays and tubs and then sort all of my sewing supplies, and it was just so satisfying to put all the little things places, and it just makes everything so accessible, but it's also not ugly and untidy in a way that if you leave your stuff out on the table, it's accessible but it looks awful, and it's just made such a difference. And after I sorted out the crafting area, I used it for the next thing. If you've watched my channel before, you'll know that I always have multiple cushions on my bed. I love decorative cushions. But the ones I had before were not pink. And in a room that was so dominated by pink things, like in Bath, that didn't matter. But here, the room is dominated by the green walls, so I just felt like I needed more pink. So I used my new little craft area and I sewed some pink frilly cushions. I've seen frilly cushions on Pinterest and I just really like the look of them. They look old-fashioned and fun, and I just really like that. the plain pink one could do with some decoration, maybe embroidery on the middle, but I haven't done that yet. We'll see if that happens. And I think that has made such a big difference. I think it's really made the room so much pinker and it's brought a very frilly edge. So those are the new things that I have done. Other than that, I've done a little bit of rearranging. I've done a lot of putting things away and moving stuff around to see if I can get it to a place that makes sense. And I think it's really good now. Though I wouldn't advise you to open drawers because a lot of stuff is chucked in vaguely where it needs to go, but like proper organisation still needs to happen. But this is just step one, make it livable on the outside. The surfaces, the shelving, the things that are visible in the room are good. And it has made such a difference in here. It felt really oppressive and stressful in here before, also dull because of the colour, and I think bringing the pink in and clearing the decks has made such a difference to the feeling. Big task. The back has been broken because it's not 100% finished, and like I said, the insides of drawers and boxes need to be organised. And as soon as I started doing craft projects, I thought of 15 more. Like the embroidery, I'm thinking the lamps all have white or grey lampshades, and do they need to be covered in pink maybe? Do I need to get new curtains because the curtains are grey and they really don't sing to me. They are just dark, which is obviously the point of curtains, but the curtains themselves don't need to be dark. And like I said, I have an itch to paint more things pink, so I'm thinking there's probably going to be more done over time, but I have made such a big improvement in this space over this last couple of weeks and it feels so much better. If you enjoyed this, please let me know. Thank you for watching this video and I will see you in the next one. Bye!